So I have a Regal Unlimited subscription, and I just got done watching A Quiet Place Part 1 for the second time. The first time in IMAX, and then I watched it the next day today in RPX with Dolby Atmos. And I wanted to share my experience with you to let you know which one I think you should watch it in, IMAX or RPX, because the experience was completely different. But before I tell you which version you should see this movie in, let me give you my out-of-theater reaction. Hey, what's up? This is my out-of-the-theater reaction for Quiet Place Day 1. Good movie. Very good movie. Very heartfelt movie. A lot more character development in this one. I'd say that it's probably the least best out of the three, but it's still good. However, the audio in this one should be the best out of the three. So I just got done seeing it in IMAX, and I have a feeling if they do it right, the audio on 4K Blu-ray, Kaleidoscape Digital is going to be amazing. This one has a lot more sound, and you get to see, you still don't know where the aliens come from. So I wish there was a way to get some backstory on that. It'd be kind of hard because you have to basically have some type of narration or something. But it's still a very good movie, and it's cool to see, how it all began. But I think, I'm curious to see how this is going to do with the public, since I personally feel like it's not as good as the other two. I don't know where I would rank it though. It's kind of hard to decide where to rank this one. I think that it's probably number 2, number 3, but I think I'm going to put it at number 3. I still think the other two are better. So, yeah. So I'm curious to see how it's going to do, once it's actually out to the masses. It's Thursday right now, so should get some pretty good numbers this weekend. Like I said, it's a good movie, good character development. The aliens are a lot more scarier in this one. They're a lot more violent and visceral. And you get to see the aliens a lot more. You just get to see how destructive they are. They're just super. I love what they did with the audio on this one. So this one isn't as quiet as the other ones. There's definitely those quiet moments where you have the surroundings, you have the ambiance of their atmosphere, but there's just a lot more mayhem in this one. So I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. But yeah, that's my reaction for A Quiet Place out of the theater. I'm gonna see it tomorrow again, this time in Atmos and RPX at Regal Cinemas. So I'll probably do a dedicated video to let you guys know which one you should watch it in. First, let's talk about the seating. So the IMAX theater that I went to is one of the biggest ones in Houston. It's a Regal theater, obviously because I have Regal Unlimited, and it's been recently renovated. So they've got brand new seating, and the seats are pretty comfortable, and they do recline. However, they do not recline enough for me. They recline just enough to leave you wanting more. RPX, however, is a little bit different. You get more space in the seat itself. You get a table tray that you can swing out for cups, drinks, popcorn, snacks, all that good stuff. It's kind of like your own individual seat, like something along the lines of AMC Prime. They're not as nice as AMC Prime, but just to give you an idea. So you do get a little bit more space. You do get a little bit more customization with that swivel table tray thing on the side. And then you've got pretty good leg room in front of you. So as far as seating, I'd have to give it to RPX on that one, because you just get more room, you get more space, and it's just a little bit more comfortable. And then, like I said, you've got that swivel tray that you don't get in IMAX, where you just have a cup holder. And if you want popcorn or snacks, you're going to have to hold them in your lap. Or if there's an empty seat next to you, then you can put it there, but that's not guaranteed. As far as the video, there's pretty much no comparison here. IMAX is always going to have the bigger screen. You're going to get a better image. You're going to get this massive aspect ratio, and the image is just going to look better than RPX. The RPX theater that I went to wasn't bad, but again, it's no IMAX. The screen in RPX also wasn't as big as the one when I saw it in IMAX. I'm not sure on the screen sizes as far as RPX compared to IMAX, but there's no comparison. The IMAX just completely dwarfs the RPX screen. With the IMAX video, you're going to get a brighter image, you're going to get a bigger image, you're going to get more detail, you're going to get that crispy detail on faces, texture, everything just is amplified times 10, whereas RPX, I feel like I got a more softer image, still very good image, and the image also wasn't as bright as it was in IMAX. The IMAX screen was super bright. I felt like the RPX screen was just very dim. There wasn't a lot of detail, a lot darker than the IMAX screen. So yeah, IMAX is going to win out on that one. Now, as far as audio, I want to focus on that because the Quiet Place movies are engineered with some very sophisticated audio engineering. And the first two are awesome. The first two Quiet Place movies are demo material, especially at home on 4K Blu-ray or on Kaleidoscape, digital, whatever your preference is. So I was very curious to see how this movie sounded in IMAX with their audio versus RPX with Dolby Atmos. And I gotta say, there's pretty much no comparison here. Now, mind you, my experience might differ from yours. I found that since I've been using Regal Unlimited and I've gone to different theaters, the theaters, there's no consistency. One theater might sound really, really good, might have really good channel separation, good overheads, and then another theater might be completely opposite. The bass might be too low. One of the channels might be hotter than the other ones. It's a mixed bag. So this is my experience watching A Quiet Place in IMAX here locally in Houston, Texas versus RPX. And I'm glad that I saw it in IMAX first yesterday. So I saw the movie yesterday and then I saw it again today. So it was fresh in my mind. I was able to recall certain moments, certain scenes in IMAX where I was like, oh, you know, this sounded really good. Or there was a really good channel separation, you know, with the aliens and the humans and explosions, stuff like that. So with IMAX, I don't believe that there's Dolby Atmos. It's usually DTS. But in the theater that I was in, I did notice a couple speakers overhead that were kind of on the side, like pointing down. And while I didn't really hear any Atmos effects, I felt like there were certain scenes where I got like a phantom image overhead. And I could tell that there's some information up there. And when it comes to the home release, we should have a pretty good mix. I think it's going to be another standout demo material. I think this movie is going to be used in all of the reels at, you know, CEDIA, CES, Expona, and M-Wave next year at 2025. Obviously, when you go watch a movie in IMAX, the thing that really stands out besides the picture is the sound. The bass was thumping in this movie. Awesome bass. Channel separation was really good, even though there's no Atmos speakers. And IMAX doesn't use any subwoofers. There is no 0.1 when you go to an IMAX theater. All the speakers are full range speakers and it gets super loud in there. Sometimes I even feel like the IMAX theater gets too loud. I remember when I saw The Dark Knight, however many years ago that was, I think 2008, the opening scene with the shotgun scene, I remember wanting to cover my ears because it was so loud. So anytime I go to an IMAX theater, usually sometimes I'm kind of scared because I don't know what the decibels are going to be like in there. But I was excited for A Quiet Place because, you know, you have the aliens, they're running around everywhere. And I will say that in this movie, A Quiet Place Day One, you get a lot more action. Whereas the other two, you know, you have aliens throughout here and there. There's a lot more aliens in this movie. They're featured way more in this one than the other two. There's a lot more action. There's a lot more explosions. You get a lot better ambiance of what takes place whenever the aliens are on screen. And then the humans, you know, walking around, talking, not talking. There's a lot of rain. There's a lot of thunder. Some really cool effects that I could tell in the IMAX where I was talking about earlier. I was getting that phantom image. Sounded really good. Now, when we go to RPX, I was extremely disappointed. Again, it could be my theater. Maybe it wasn't tuned right, but there was zero bass. Absolutely no bass at all whatsoever. And again, I'm really glad that I saw it in IMAX first because it was fresh in my mind. And as soon as the movie started, whenever the aliens show up, there's an explosion. You see the aliens, you know, I guess they're in ships going through the sky. And then there's this massive explosion. And as soon as that explosion hit in the RPX theater, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Where's the bass? And from then on, the bass was just non-existent. So I don't know if they didn't mix it right for the theater, but RPX Dolby Atmos, bass, very, very underwhelming. Again, non-existent. And as far as Atmos effects, pretty much non-existent. I think maybe 5% of the times I could actually make out Atmos height effects because I was looking for them. There are specific scenes where I was like, okay, the aliens are, there's one scene where, and I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but there's one scene where the alien is running on top of a sewage, I guess, and you see him and he's running on metal on the ceiling for maybe 15 or 20 seconds. And in the IMAX theater, I got that phantom image where I could hear him, the alien, running on top. And, you know, depending on where the camera was aimed at the actual actors, where the alien would be off screen, you could hear him running overhead. In the RPX theater with Dolby Atmos, nothing. And on the ceiling, I tried to take video of it, but it was pretty dark in there, so you probably couldn't see it on screen, but I'll throw it up anyway. There was 2 rows that looked like it was about 10 to 12 speakers for Atmos height effects, and it was just non-existent. So I don't know what was going on there. The only times that I heard any height effects was a couple of times when there was rain and thunder, lightning. That sounded pretty good. Even then, it sounded like it was massively subdued. And there was another time when a plane flew over, I could kind of hear it, but even then, you know, it was overhead. It didn't really pan well because it went from the back left to the front right. And yeah, I don't know what was going on in my theater, but I was just very underwhelmed with the Atmos height effects. Pretty much the whole theater anyway. The sound was good. It sounded like the treble was up a little bit higher than it should have been. It just wasn't a good experience. Now, I haven't seen this movie in a Dolby Cinema. Dolby Cinema is probably going to be a lot better than RPX Atmos. I've heard a lot of people say some good things about Dolby Cinema. So maybe I just need to crack down and eventually go to a Dolby Cinema, which sucks because I have Regal Unlimited and I don't want to pay extra. But yeah, the few times that I have been to RPX, the Atmos has just been kind of underwhelming. The only other movie that I've seen this year with Dolby Atmos is Inside Out 2, and that one actually sounded really good in another theater with RPX. But we're talking about A Quiet Place Part 1. So, based on my experiences, having seen both movies back-to-back days in IMAX and RPX, RPX with Dolby Atmos, IMAX without Dolby Atmos, I gotta say, video, audio, seating, see this movie in IMAX if you have Regal Unlimited. If you have a Dolby Cinema subscription, whatever theirs is called, you're probably going to have a better experience with Atmos because it's a Dolby Cinema. But yeah, and maybe your experience at RPX will be different at a different location. I don't know what state you're in, forever who's watching this, but my choice is going to be IMAX for A Quiet Place Part 1. All right, guys. That's going to be my thoughts on IMAX versus RPX with A Quiet Place Part 1. But I want to know what your thoughts are. I want to know what format you've seen it in and what your thoughts are. And if you've seen it more than once, did you see it in IMAX? Did you see it in RPX, ScreenX, or some other type of format? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss when I upload new videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.